Hello, everyone. We are back again. Despite the fact that nobody asked, but that's not true, is it, Sank? Because we made a whopping 74 views in our last video.
Wow. Should I book my Tesla?
I really think it's time you booked both of us Teslas because clearly our views on everything, everywhere, all at once was so profound and thought provoking that we got, such overwhelming support clearly. In spite of the fact, I'm pretty sure at least 20 of those views are my mother refreshing the page to provide support to us. But
True.
that's okay. That's okay because you know what? I'm proud. And because of that, we are going to continue our discussion over the rest of the pieces that we didn't like have a chance to talk about and didn't get to in the last time about everything everywhere all at once. And I think we set up the universe pretty well the last time. And I want to ask you, Sank, um, on Kremchis, there will be, I think, a lot of discussions where we bring up the concept of a villain, the concept of an antagonist. Do you think that since Heath Ledger's Joker, this was a very interesting villain that we saw after a very long time?
Yeah. So I think what constitutes it's not like true for every villain that we have seen, but I think what
Yes.
makes a great villain is someone that we don't relate to, but we still understand what that person is about. And I
Mhm.
think I forget her name, but she was a classic example of that kind of a villain. Like
Joy.
Joy.
Mhm.
With Joker, I'm sure I don't think anybody can relate to him. If anyone does, needs to be reported immediately, but still we could understand why he's doing that, right? What is his motivation and everything. Here it's exactly the same thing, where
Mhm.
if you see that there is a parallel between Joker and Joy. It's that she has given up on life, she has given up on her lives. Everything that she's
Wow.
seen, everything that she's seen, she doesn't see any point in living at all. S- at till a point that she wants to destroy the whole universe. And this can be related to the ship scene that that
Mhm.
happens in Dark Knight,
Mhm.
where Joker wants people to know that nobody's nobody cares about anyone, and that even if you are good, it's not the same with the other person. That other person might not think the same that way about you. And I think the climax,
Mhm.
again, spoilers for some people who haven't seen, one
Mhm.
of the climaxes of the movie is about Evelyn, is the protagonist name.
Evelyn is the protagonist, yes.
Evelyn, uh, making people, giving them a reason to live, be it
Mhm.
uh, you know dancing or just the things that actually make them happy.
Mhm.
She shows them that life, there are things in life worth living for, and that is how they convert back to the good side. And again, uh, it should not be that easy with the villain, right? Like, you cannot
Mhm.
just do that with the villain, and that's why we get that amazing scene outside the laundromat where where they have the whole confession, and when they talk about the relationships. So I think, yeah. All right.
I
I
think,
so
sorry, go ahead.
I though only wanted to do part two.
The
All right. So honestly, I only wanted to do a part two because we did not discuss palace-shaped hands, be it spaghetti or dildos or whatever. Why didn't we discuss this?
so we
We
can talk
discussed
about this.
we can
Uh,
we discussed about so many other unimportant things, but we did not discuss dildos for hands and their advantages.
I don't think they were dildos for hands. I think she could transform pretty much any weapon that was in her hand. So Joy makes the entry into the current universe in an Elvis outfit. Ugh, first of all, what an entry!
Oof, one
What
of the
at
best one of the best entries of any villain.
I'm so proud that they thought that we are going to introduce uh, this character in a way that makes sense to everybody very quickly and then quickly devolves into complete nonsense where the camera pans from her top to bottom and then you see that she has a pet pig and she walks into the hallway with the pet pig and the intimidation scene between her and the police officer where the police officer goes, "You can't be here," and she's like, "I can't be here or I shouldn't be here," or something of that nature, where she is pretty much establishing that she's God and she can do anything. And her presence, the you can also see the switch between the the non uh, the non villain version of her, where she's very affectionate. She has a lot of emotions when she talks with her mother, and then this version of her where she's like dead in the eye. She has like no feeling, no interest in what's going on around her other than basically just going and finding her mother and kind of ending this thing. I really, really appreciate that they brought in a bit of wrestling into the mix, and they
Mhm.
got a bit of WWE into the mix, where she kind of transformed into a wrestler, and then she changed her costume immediately, and whatever was in her hand was a weapon. And the best part was that weapon, like I said, could be transformed into pretty much anything. So there came a point in the scene where you have the, I don't know what that's called, but that's like, I guess we can now call it the villain shot, where the camera finally like ends on a fight scene where the villain has overpowered everybody and she has two dildos in her hands. And she's like caked in blood, like completely caked in blood. So
Oh yeah, she
uh,
had dildos in her hands, right? I
she
thought
had dildos, yeah.
she had
No,
dildos for hands. Sorry.
no, she had, and um, it's just amazing to me that that was the entry.
And
And
that scene could
mhm,
have gone upside down if it weren't for her acting.
absolutely,
I think
absolutely, it could have gone
Stephanie
upside
Su,
down.
her name is, did a
Yes,
phenomenal job with it.
yeah,
Everything, like even the timid version, she acted well, and obviously the villain version.
yeah, yeah. What I really liked about her is that throughout the thing she's still kind of looking for um approval of some kind, like uh, I don't know if this was the premise, if this was the intended premise, but there is so much about it which is about approval from parents. Like the our protagonist, Evelyn, heard things about approval from her father, and she somehow kind of passes that back on to her kid. And this is why I find this okay. I just realized this. Her villain version, Joy's villain version, is Jobu Topaki.
Yeah,
Um,
which
Joy,
changes to Chewbacca also at one point.
yes.
Everyone calls it Joe Chewbacca or something.
Yeah, because I feel like they don't know what it means. So they're just like making up things. But
Maybe it's like them making fun of white people always mispronouncing the names.
oh, mispronouncing the names, it that could have been. And I'm trying to actually understand, like, so there is a thing about, okay, so her name is Joy, right? Joker's name starts with Joe as well.
Oh,
I mean, her villain name is also Jobu Tupaki. And I was trying to understand, and I don't know um uh if okay, so there's a scene, right, where um she introduces herself, like, or you know that she's Jobu Tupaki, and then Evelyn goes, "You're just saying like random things, like you're just making random noises." And uh I don't know if it means something, like if Jobu itself like means something. But I mean, whatever I read about it, and I was trying very hard to understand for a long time, like, what does Jobu Tupaki mean and why that word specifically?
yeah, it has to mean
So
something, right?
it has to, because uh, I was on the Reddits, and I still, again, I don't know what it means. Like, what do you think it means?
I'm not a
Like
linguist, and I don't have any uh I don't have any I'm not literate on Chinese nomenclature, but it doesn't sound Chinese to me. Like it might be something other than Chinese, I would say.
um
It sounds,
okay,
it just sound like I'm just basing it on the sound, nothing else.
okay. So interesting. So I'm actually seeing like this interview right now where people are talking about, again, bringing up the name again, like, why Jobu? And I think it's because it's literally because what a fun thing to say, and
Oh
that's it.
yeah, kind of like the name of the movie, man.
I
Such
think
such
so.
a such a mouthful. Is it because
Yeah.
like is it because there are like 536,000 vowels in the title?
I think there is something to this. Now, I don't know, you've been in situations where you're introducing yourself to a person who's probably not Asian.
Hmm.
Uh, and I remember introducing myself as, I'm Surabhi, right? And then going, sorry, can you repeat that again? And there have been times where I have been, somehow my name has become Robert over time. And then finally Bob. And
Oh yeah, like Rob.
Rob, and people who we are close to, who are our friends, our loved ones, and if they call us names affectionately, like Bengalis have this thing called dark nam, which is basically like something that you call somebody with affection, which only that person or those group of people can call you, because they have that version of you
Hmm.
for them.
Chinese have an English name. They always have an
They
English
have
name, right?
an English name, but dark names are about something that you call somebody with affection for that version of that person, and nobody else has access to that version of that person other than you. And I wonder if there is some context to that, especially in the story, because Jobu Tupaki, if it truly doesn't mean anything, then I think the intent of it is, oh, we are now going to make people say a name of a movie which is very tongue twisty, very difficult, just like our Asian names are. And we are going to like throw into the mix a bunch of like, interesting sounding characters as well, because we don't want to make it easy for people who do not want to even take an effort. So I don't know. I feel there is so much to it. I bet they have left it up for grabs for people to interpret it as they want. But I love that, and again, I don't know if it is intentional, but Joker, Jo, and Jobu, and there is like some villain universe where I'm sure they meet, and the Joker must be real proud of her. That's
Do
all I'm saying.
you think this will get a sequel?
I hope it does.
I don't want to. I don't want them to
Really?
make something. Like we've already seen, it's like the Inside Out thing, right? Uh, by the end of the movie, you think that, this is a great universe and they should explore more of it. But what they did with the post-credit scene with, uh, you know, where they go inside the dog's head as well, and
Yeah.
some girl's head as well, some random guy's head. Everything they've shown us what this universe is all about, and
Yeah.
yeah. So it's the same thing with the. I think it'll, even if it has a sequel, I would say like it might not go well because we've already seen everything everywhere.
All at once. Um,
Oh, by the way, I wanted to
yeah.
ask you this, like, why do you
Mhm.
think I didn't uh, I didn't get that part, the last part. Why is it called all at once? Because nothing really happens, right? In that
No, it does, right? Because okay, so they are talking about what is the main universe from where Jobutopaki actually originates. What is it
alpha
called?
universe,
Alpha universe. Okay, so in the Alpha verse, there is an Evelyn that is training herself to be able to universe jump. And in that situation, she betters the technique and whatever else. And over time, they get apparatus to improve the way they're going to do it. But again, like we know that a lot of parents put pressure on their kids to be better, to do better, to be a better version of themselves. She does the same thing to Jobutopaki, or that universe's Joy, the Alpha versus Joy, where she trains her till what one of two things could have happened. She could have died, where the overtraining could have killed her of jumping universes, but instead of dying, her brain gets fractured. So she experiences every universe all at once.
but that happens. Okay, every universe.
So
Oh, okay.
all at once.
So
So she is
she
every
acquires Joy's
universe all at
powers as well. Oh,
she understands how to universe jump like the Joy of the Alphaverse, and I think
right.
she has killed the Joy of the Alphaverse, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I
That's
don't
why she's
remember that.
searching for. That's why she's searching for the worst version, right? Because the Alphaverse is the best version. The
Hmm.
worst version is the Joy that we know, that we were introduced to. So, and there's that scene, right, where you see Joy when she experiences the first hit, like the first fatal hit in while jumping universes. She feels every pain of her current life all at once. Like the pain that she felt when her father just let her go, losing her virginity, going through child labor. They show every
Ah,
scene all at once, and she feels that pain all at once. So again, there's a lot of context to the word all at once. They are constantly trying to show us that we are capable as individuals to feel what Jobutapaki is feeling, but we are not either as advanced or as sensitive as she is.
true, true.
I think so. I think I could be completely wrong, but I think that's what it is.
Interesting. So yeah, if like they if this is the setup for the next movie, then I might be. But they have to do something new with it, even if
It's
it
just
happens.
that it's just that there is something between Evelyn and her father, which is unfinished business, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah, because this universe shows the cementing of her and her daughter. And basically, when she says, like, your daughter is Jobutapaki, Jobutapaki is everybody. Every version of your daughter is me.
Hmm.
So the this kind of puts to rest Jobutapaki's storyline. So we don't need anything more from here. But I think we need a little more to understand that in a universe where Evelyn and her father kind of not necessarily reconcile, but come to terms with the fact that there was generational trauma introduced to her because of her father. And where did he get it from? Presumably his father or his mother. But the thing is, there is something about that. I was thinking about it the other day when my mother overdoes things to the point where I get annoyed with her, right? Like I'm like, Ma, please, like stop asking me so many questions. Like, why do you keep asking me the same thing over and over? And I think it's because she, on some level, did not receive that unconditional support, where no matter what I do, it's golden. No matter what I do, I'm right. And I don't think that happened with her. She, like Evelyn, also, married against her family's wishes. So there's a lot of stuff that she now has very much kind of hand delivered to her, because she is a person who endured that. And we don't know why she endured that, but we know that the source comes from the way she was raised. And then you can kind of go back into it and check out like why that happened to this person, and whether they will ever come to, come to terms with maybe the grandparents or the great grandparents who did that generationally to their kids because they didn't know any better. So again, it may not be this story, but there is a lot to unwrap over there,
Yeah.
because we right, because I mean, we have to keep in mind that there is a person who is wheelchair bound father who, has seen better health, and now he's living with a daughter that he rejected, that he disapproves of. So what happened over there? Like, what was that journey to not being on board with her marrying this man who runs a laundromat, to suddenly becoming dependent on her? That we don't know anything about that. We don't know how that happened.
Hmm. Yeah, you do that. But then again, like it'll still have the sequel problem where
It will.
we already know about the universe.
I just feel like it would be really interesting to me if they brought in gender context to it. Like, because he's a man, okay, in a household, like he's a boy. So he must have got unconditional support from his parents. So imagine going down a rabbit hole where Evelyn goes to investigate like what happened with her father when he was young or whatever. And maybe he got like some kind of generational trauma because his parents weren't supportive of him. But it turns out he was completely like well loved and well supported, and there was
Hmm.
no reason for him to do that to her. And I would love, love to like see that storyline. She's like, why
But
couldn't you
he,
just,
uh,
you know,
yeah, but he wanted her to pursue her career, right? He didn't
did
want.
he?
Uh,
Did he want her to pursue her career, or did he just want her to not do anything against his wishes? There's a big difference.
yeah, that could be the case. But he didn't want her to get away from him
Isn't
because he
there
thought
that's
maybe like I'm saying like he might have thought that if she moves to US,
Mm.
uh, she might not be as successful as what she would be if she stays
But isn't she, doesn't she tell um her her father at one point that, how could you just let me go? How did you not stop me? So if this was really about her career, I don't think it was about her. It was about him, his ego, the fact that she made a decision that had nothing to do with him.
because
I I don't
I'm
know.
thinking about the Kung Fu universe, right?
Yeah,
She
but
she doesn't
she,
go.
her father doesn't introduce her to that. She stumbles upon it when she is in an alley and she is like about to be attacked. Her teacher finds her and trains her. So, in my opinion, in that universe as well, because in that universe she doesn't have a husband. If this is truly something about, like following like traditional norms where parents want their kids to get married and stuff, even in that universe she does what she wants. It was her decision to not go to the not go with the boy that she falls in love with. She somehow ends up in an alleyway where she gets attacked by a bunch of men, and then her teacher saves her. Her teacher trains her, and she becomes a kung fu master. I don't think it has anything to do with her dad. I think her dad kind of goes along with what's going on, and he doesn't have as much power as we think he does.
Because I'm thinking of the parallels between her not leaving.
Hmm.
I'm seeing it in the way that her not going with him
Mhm.
is because she wants to do what her father wants her to do, and that's her father's decisions have influenced her in the kung fu universe. That's how I see it.
Interesting. Okay.
All right,
Okay.
what else?
Um,
Are you
I think
missing
I want to
something?
go with
Do you want to talk about Jenny Slate? Her name is Jenny Slate, right?
Jenny said, yeah. Uh,
She says something. You what is she delivering? Some
no,
she asks for something, right?
she is a customer at the laundromat,
Yeah,
and
and she
yeah.
leaves something there, and Evelyn says like, "Give this to the woman with the big nose."
Oh God. Oh my God. I like that there is a. They've given a bit of throwback to that. That I don't know that Asians also can be like racist and inappropriate. Like they,
Yeah.
like because I don't know. I feel um if you hang out with like at least on in my neck of the woods with like the kind of aunties and the Asian aunties, the Indian aunties that I hang out with, they they will sometimes like say stuff, and I'm like, guys, that's not okay. You can't say that. And say, why not? Because it's wildly inappropriate, and they don't understand that it is. Like they don't think that it is, and they have no fucks to give. They don't care. Like they are literally like we are in our 50s. We've seen the whole world. We're going to say whatever we want to say. We don't care. Like, and I think that's what that is, like some kind of some wrap around to that there is a generation of Asians in general who are wildly inappropriate, but they don't care. They really don't. They have endured every kind of racism, and for them it's like, you know what, I'm gonna say what I want to say, and that's what it is.
I
Pretty
think
much.
like it also says a lot about Evelyn, right? Because
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
how like how would say, for the lack of a better word, inconsiderate towards her daughter's relationship, daughter's
Mm-hmm.
sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that she thinks that being okay with it is enough,
Yeah. Yeah.
but she doesn't see that, standing up for her daughter and everything,
Like
that is also something that equally matters.
I think there is also something to be said about conditions in that thing, where she married someone against her parents' wishes. That person was a man. Then she um uh thinks that that will be the end all for her, right? That my child can marry whoever she wants as long as that person is a man.
Hmm.
And she says that to Joe Butapaki. She says that. She's like, because of you, she is gay. Like she blames
Yeah.
something completely. Like, what is happening? Like the universe is crumbling around her. The universe is falling apart around her. She has seen her husband die 50 ways by now. But oh,
Hmm.
you're the reason my child's gay, and how dare you? I'm just like sitting on this, like, why is everybody why does it happen every time the parents, like, with all their profound wisdom and all their profound experience and whatnot they have endured, they somehow, when it comes to certain things in their life, they actually miss the point completely. Like they have no idea altogether that a person's sexuality, forget sexuality, a person's decision of who they want to be with in general has nothing to do with them. It has nothing to do with their parenting. It has nothing to do with their lives. You cannot blame it on anyone. You cannot give credit to it, credit about it to anyone either. And the fact that this person's expectation of approval is just about her girlfriend in the current universe, whereas Joe Baki has not been shown to have anyone, right? Like she's all alone in this. Like she has a bunch of lackeys who support her and her bagel, the bagel of destruction or whatever. But I don't
Hmm.
think she has anyone that's hers, right? Like she doesn't
Yeah.
have any attachments. So and I wonder, and this is just me like trying to find meanings of it. If this woman Evelyn, current universe Evelyn, uh, is more accepting of Jobu Tupaki than her own daughter.
Ooh.
because because just because Joe Tupaki's sexuality has not come out in the open, but then the second she realizes that Joe Tupaki is like bad news, she's like, oh, you're the root cause of all evil.
Oh, like that.
And that
Maybe,
evil, yeah.
maybe like that's why she actually contemplates going into the donut.
Yes, because she's more accepting of Jobu. Because in 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 the universe of pretty much everything, like when she makes the entry, when she's a wrestler, when they're a cartoon, when they're rocks, even when they're rocks, like somehow Evelyn literally says, "I'm okay with this, with being a
Hmm.
rock, with sitting next to you as a rock. I'm okay with this." Like,
Wow.
and I'm like, you'd rather be in a universe where this is not you're not even a human being, you're an inanimate object at worst, at best, and but you don't want to come to terms with your daughter's girlfriend. And yes, it is difficult and it's not easy, and I have read in some books that when kids come out to their parents, um, parents who are not prepared for it, or who don't see it coming, or who don't want that to happen, it is the equivalent of the death of a child kind of news. Like the sorrow they feel is the same sorrow they would have felt had they heard their child died. So I don't know. Like they have somehow managed to show us that our parents would rather steer away from that conversation. Like they would rather let us go than just accept that this girl is in love with somebody. Like they'd rather let us go. They'd rather destroy themselves in the entire universe. They'd rather just give up on life than just accept their child as they are.
Hmm.
And I wonder if that was like the if that was intended or not, but at least that's what I got when I was watching the movie. And the part where they are a stick figure kind of drawing, and there isn't like any composition to them other than the fact that they're just like these scribbled up drawings. Even in that universe, like Jobu's kind of showing her like every version of your daughter is me. But what I think Evelyn doesn't realize that every version of Joy is Jobu, in the sense it's interconnected. So Jobu is also her creation technically. Jobu is Evelyn's creation,
Hmm.
not the Alphaverse creation, but the current universe's creation. So if we are all, in fact, if we are the same person, and this is just different versions of us, like you said in the last recording when we had, you said that there is the concept of a multiverse about the what ifs and the paths not taken. That technically means that this is all Evelyn, but it also means that Evelyn and Joy are technically mother and daughter in every universe except for the one place where she doesn't have kids, and Joy doesn't exist over there at all. So when you think about it, Jobu is the creation of current Evelyn, of Evelyn not making the decision of loving her child as she is. Because had Evelyn loved Joy as she is, there is a universe where Jobu would have gone and been like, oh, my mother accepts me as I am. She's not training me, she's not hardwiring me, she doesn't care how I am. She just loves me as I am. She's not trying to make me a better version of myself. Because that actually means that there is no universe where Jobu goes and sees that she's unconditionally loved.
Yep. So true.
So and that gave me like goosebumps. Like I felt so sad when I saw this thing. So Jobu didn't get loved anywhere. Like no universe she went and she saw that her mother just loved her as she was. Like damn, that made me. I don't know, that made me feel a particular way. I rewatched it and I felt certain feelings at that point of time. And my mom and I don't have these issues. Um, we are not alpha verse people, at least. But when I think about parents and their love, and you always wonder, the stars were very perfectly aligned that I fall into a certain definition of acceptance in this combination of events? What if I did something completely bizarre? Would I be loved even then? And I think that's the question. Would you love me even if I was a horrific alphaverse villain? That's the question. And that they address that towards that. It's like, yeah, I would. Every
Mhm.
version of you, I would love you. Like that's the beauty of the story, right? Like it took the destruction of the universe for her to understand that, but still, like, what a beautiful way to talk about parents and their love and and how even sometimes they have to learn how to love their kids. Like it doesn't come naturally, and it shouldn't. Otherwise, what's the point?
I wanted to talk about something.
Hmm.
What's with movies exploring the third eye thing? Like it happened with Evelyn and it happened in spoilers for Doctor Strange, but it happens with
So,
the main character.
uh, I don't know if this is true or not, but what is it called? The parietal eye or the third eye, the pineal eye,
Third eye
uh,
is what my mom calls it.
third eye. It's very common in any of the Hindu mythology that you read. The destroyer of the universe, Shiva, he keeps his third eye closed, so they don't experience too much energy all at once. And guys, I am not trying to use all at once over and over again, but it's just happening now.
Mhm.
uh, but I think there was a particular segment where people were talking about, um, not a segment. There was an experiment that happened where I think a doctor successfully bred a couple of frogs that could open their third eye, and it's very poetic if you think about it, because frogs can live everywhere all at once. They can be
Mhm.
on water and land, and I think the third eye concept is, um it's about being able to explore a dimension that you didn't think existed,
Mm.
because we do have that land. Scientifically, we do have that land, we just don't use it, but we do have the land for the third eye. So it's yeah.
It's like
We
using
just
your
don't.
brain only 10% of it.
Using the brain, or using just in general, like something about perspective, I guess, I don't know, but there is something about third eye or universes where people talk about, I was reading this interesting article that there technically only three universes exist, like only three combinations of them exist. So whatever your current version is, um, what it can be, like the best case scenario, and then the worst case scenario of the current universe. So even in the movie, I think the best case scenario is Jobu not existing. And the worst case scenario is the alpha verse where Jobu exists and everything is kind of like going up in flames. It's just that their definition of the worst version of Evelyn is a mediocre version. That she's mediocre, that she's not doing anything.
Mhm.
So I think the third eye is about that, where they're talking about being able to see something from a different point of view, being able to like understand different dimensions, but not just that, being able to understand yourself from a different dimension. Because if you have an extra literal eye that is capable of seeing things, then I don't know. I think that is literally about being able to see more, as cliche as that sounds.
Yeah. What I wanted to know was I wanted to know this because I didn't know anything apart from the Hindu mythology who any concept that uses third eye.
Hmm.
So that is why I was curious as to why why multiverses are using it.
I know that there is some context from, I mean, at least Doctor Strange's um Doctor Strange and the third eye, and like him reaching a perfect understanding of what is happening. And we have to remember that there are different ways that this is interpreted. There is the third eye that is represented vertically, and then there is horizontally. And I don't know if that means something in different storylines, but the concept of the third eye, at least in the area of a multiverse, is about being able to understand the concept of a probability. So, couple of wow, over a decade and a half ago, I had read this book about. It was a science fiction book. I forget the name. I might put it in the comment section later. But it was about Schrodinger's cat's experiment, and how there are these two kids who go to visit their family in some weird mansion, and there is a maze in the back of the mansion that nobody's allowed to go into. And but when they enter that maze, they basically see about 10 versions of themselves at every corner of the maze, and it kind of looks like a distortion. So I wonder if the third eye helps with the distortion, helps you actually see everything clearly. Because in Everything Everywhere All at Once, they are using like machines, and they're giving like ways to jump universes, right? So they're like, okay, give yourself a paper cut, uh, confess your love to uh, Jamie Lee Curtis. Like let's say
That
you
was
don't have access to that, then what do you do?
that was so out of the Matrix, right? Like it's
Yeah.
like they saw like answering a phone was
Yeah.
absurd enough.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
let's let's do this, but hundredfold.
Yeah. Yeah. Take
But yeah,
confess.
this movie doesn't exist if the Matrix doesn't exist, right?
Absolutely not.
We
There's
talked
no way.
about this in the last podcast as well.
There is no way.
Yeah,
There's no way this movie can. There is no way that this movie can actually give us what we want in terms of. You know why we're comfortable with this film? Because Matrix exists.
yeah.
Like, this is not bizarre.
Hmm.
Like, when people were like watching the film, right? Like, oh my god! Like, and I think some reviews were like, oh, this nonsensical mind bend. And what is? And I'm like, what's nonsensical about this? This is perfectly aligned with pretty much everything that the Matrix has like established in another
No,
universe.
but I get them because if you're not 100% into the movie, I don't think you're gonna get the movie at all. You're gonna think it's bunch of
Mm.
gibberish. Uh, so there's this. So the thing with this multiverse is that is only the 5 minutes that we saw in Doctor Strange, right? Where they jump universes. And
Hmm.
then Doctor Strange is just about two universes. It's not about the multiverse.
Yeah.
It's only
Yeah.
about the main universe and the two universes. There's this part
Yeah.
in between in Doctor Strange where they jump universes. That 5 minutes, 2 minute sequence, this
Hmm.
movie incorporates everything
Yeah.
there. Okay. So the thing with okay, I lost my train of thought. What I was talking about, I was comparing this with Matrix's. Okay, forget it.
You got lost in the Matrix, did you? Did you just universe jump? Is it still you? Look at me.
Are you
I
saying
think
that I
you were.
don't look like a rock?
I, I'm sorry, what?
Are you saying that I don't look like a rock right now?
You don't look like rock right now. No, you don't. You're fine. You
Like
look
a rock.
oh, a rock. No, you don't. You don't. You look human-ish
Okay.
mostly. Except for your ears. Your ears are weird. But
Are you
other
saying
than
that are you saying that I don't look like a rock? That's why you don't want to slap me? Get it?
that.
Will Smith joke?
Whoa.
Wink wink.
See, that is not a universe I am stepping into. You may gleefully jump, skip, and go over there. I am not going over there. My God. Um, but yeah, I feel. I mean, coming back to the Matrix and the comparison of what is it, Smith? is it Smith in
Hmm.
the Matrix who's the antagonist, or the perceived antagonist?
Hmm. Smith.
Um, Smith and Jobu again, to bring us back to those parallels of Neo and Evelyn and Jobu and Smith. Uh, Jobu is looking to destroy
Hmm.
Evelyn, and Smith is looking to destroy Neo, and and then ultimately trying to show us that Neo, Smith, everybody's all the same. It doesn't even matter, and like whatever else. But I think there is some beauty to the concept that if people are in the movie and not paying attention to like very absolute details,
Uh,
then it is possible that they may not get like as much context. But is it nonsensical? I don't think
so
so.
that's what I was talking about. I remember. So there are
Okay.
two types of uh, there are two types of things that can happen, right? Like one is
Mhm.
you just show these weird things that are happening that happened in this movie, and then you have
Yes.
weird thing like what happened in Fury Road. Okay,
Hmm.
you have a movie which is
Hmm.
crazy right from start till the end.
Hmm.
Okay, they have wound up a story through action, and that is one example of visual storytelling. And then there's this, that if you're not into the movie, if you're not uh, paying attention to everything that's being said, by everything I mean everything that's being
Hmm.
said, you, if you're not able to grasp what they're talking about,
Yeah.
in some way it also means that you're not able to, you would not be able to be in on what's happening in the multiverse as well, even though they don't seem connected, but they are, the story and the multiverses.
I see what you mean. Okay, okay, okay. Okay.
Because you talk about the action sequences, right? Like the
Yeah.
different powers that she acquires
Hmm.
to actually fight the so-called bad guys,
Hmm.
the minions and everything. That is cool and all. That I think everyone would like it, with the butt plugs and everything. But then you have those type of multiverses which are adding to the story,
Yeah.
like the spaghetti, no, sausage fingers wala.
Sausage fingers. Yeah.
Yeah, with
Where?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
That adds to the story. If
Yeah.
you're not in on the action sequences itself, then obviously this doesn't make sense, and vice versa.
You're
Then
right.
you're like, and that's why I get them. That
Hmm.
okay, I'm seeing a story, but then why are you switching into action and why are you switching back to the story? It's
Is there
because this whole
a
movie is that
is
5 minutes from Doctor Strange.
from
That
Doctor
is that
Strange?
is why I felt like, not dissing it, but that is why I felt like Doctor Strange
Hmm.
played too safe. The
Yeah,
multiverse.
they played safe. I mean, they have. I don't want to say anything about anything, but they have been killing it in the Disney series with Loki and WandaVision and everything else. But maybe they need to kind of look to their series and take some take some comfort in the fact that the audience is willing to take a risk with them, like
Hmm.
the TV series have taken like these wild risks, like with the concept of a person, like a witch creating a universe from scratch. Like if we sat along with that, obviously we're going to support like any other risk they take in an actual film. But I feel like they are struggling a bit in that area. I agree, it's not
Everything
it
has to
wasn't
be
what it was. Yeah.
Everything needs to be endgame.
And yeah,
It
everything
cannot be
needs to be
anything
endgame or
less than that.
better. Um, and also don't call it the multiverse of madness.
Call it two verses of madness.
Call it
Just a
Doctor
couple verses
Strange.
of madness.
Yeah. Call it Doctor Strange and then slash Strange Doctor. Like do something like that. But don't, don't call it multiverse, because I feel like now the
Couple of
diet of
verses of soberness.
so there's
What?
They have to take risks. They have to be open to risks. The way this movie was open to risks. I mean, what a bloody great way to introduce. Okay, speaking of universes, so Goonies. What is the name of the tech whiz kid? What is
Data.
the name? Okay, Data is played by the same actor who plays Evelyn's husband, who's also using technology to uh, help the protagonist of the story.
Yeah. Spoke about it no last time that
Yeah, and
this might be the same kid.
same kid who grew up to like marry this very effervescent, wonderful woman. But
Mhm.
there is something to be said about Evelyn herself. Evelyn plays this very astute, ambitious mother-in-law in Crazy Rich Asians, and she's not approving of her son's beau for being poor or whatever. And similarly here, she's not approving. So there is again so many parallels. Like I feel like they have given they were supposed to apparently it was going to be Jackie Chan's film.
So I've heard.
I don't know, I'm very torn up about that. Like whenever somebody says that people like a movie was supposed to have another actor casted in it, I'm like, oh, that would have been interesting. Oh no, that would have flopped. Like, and now I'm thinking
I
with
would
Jackie Chan in it.
I would
Hmm,
love if one of the universes where she just becomes Jackie Chan.
I know, right? But then
I
that
would love
kind of
that.
happened. Did she kind of become Bruce Lee a
No,
bit?
no, I'm saying like she is played by Jackie Chan in one of the universes. He does a cameo or something. That would have
That would
been
have been really cool. That would have been really, really cool.
amazing.
And basically, like, if like in the middle of cheering, like kind of like bringing us back to another universe. Like, seriously? Seriously? Like her, like literally, like breaking the third wall and looking at us and shaming us. I don't know. I think that would be awesome, but it's interesting to me that they chose a woman
Mm.
and a mother who plays a character that is disapproving mother character. And I think that was a very neat risk, more than the dildos for the weapons and the switching of the costumes. What costumes?
Hmm.
What costumes? Joe Tapaki's costumes. Oh my
Oof.
god, what bloody beautiful costumes. Even the place where she is introducing the everything bagel to her.
Ah,
Uh,
the
she
white
wears a
thing.
white. Oh, whoa!
This is why this movie needs to be celebrated for a long time because it
Yeah,
chose to take so many risks.
yeah.
And I think that the discourse is dying right now. I don't know why. Maybe because it's not out on OTT or anything.
Hmm.
Maybe hoping, fingers crossed, that once it gets out on OTT,
Hmm.
streaming,
Yeah.
it'll it should become a sensation.
I hope it does. I really want. I don't know why. I'm very personally invested in this film doing well. I don't know why, but I mean, I feel like I don't know, Sang. I think these filmmakers deserve a not an applause because that would be so like
And
mild.
to make a a blockbuster in the thematic sense, I'm saying.
Yeah.
It also did very well at the box office, but
Yes.
to make a blockbuster out of after taking so many risks and
Hmm.
to make an original story out of it, that's big cojones.
I see.
When we are talking about when the only blockbusters that are working right now
Hmm.
are either sequels or remakes. So just for that reason
Mm,
itself, this movie needs to be celebrated.
you're right. You're right. It needs like I think the last video we titled it deserves all the awards, but more than the awards, because I feel like it deserves all the recognition. It
Yeah.
deserves all the aplomb for what it is. You don't have to like this film. This is and I will always say this about any movie I recommend. You do not have to like this film, but you have to take into consideration that this movie has not existed in the grand realm of movies that we have been watching for a while. It has not existed. This kind of antagonist has not existed. This kind of protagonist who at one point you start wondering who is the hero and who is the villain of the story. Like, this has not existed in a very
Mhm.
long time. And to take this risk with actors that we know these actors, but we don't really know these actors. Like, imagine the same movie with Jackie Chan, right? We This wasn't a Jackie Chan film. This was a bunch of characters, a bunch of actors who have been in the business for a while, who have been doing a great job, but they have not done anything like this before.
Mhm.
So um
And if anything, if not for anything,
mhm.
this will still influence people to make original content in the future.
Yes, yes,
Just for that reason, this movie needs to be hailed
yes,
more.
absolutely.
Okay,
uh
are we
I think
ending?
we're done.
We're
I
done.
think, like, I think we've shown our love.
Okay. And
Yes.
now it's time for our listeners to show us more love by
Yes.
clicking on the description link to buy us some coffee.
Yeah, like coffee, a car. Sanket mentioned a Tesla in the beginning.
Yeah.
We appreciate, like, we are very flexible. We appreciate anything you say. And we do this because we adore films. So please like, please share. If you think somebody else will, like, feel a little good, get a bit of escape after listening to this, please send it to them as well.
And
And
trust us,
subscribe.
like, yeah, subscribe. Please subscribe because we are not, this is not something that we are planning to do. Not, we are not just going to do movie reviews. If
Hmm.
you're, if you want continuous recommendations, if you are always confused about what to watch, if you
Hmm.
don't want to waste your time on Netflix just browsing titles, please subscribe because I'm sure you're going to get at least 10 movie recommendations or TV show recommendations every week.
And honestly, we are open to you guys giving us suggestions as well. If you want us to, like, give you a particular genre recommendations, tell us. Please tell
Yes.
us. Please comment.
Yep.
Anywho, very, very nice speaking with all of you. Hope you enjoyed it. And we will see you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.